Hello, welcome to episode 51 of Starting Stand Up. My name is David Walton. I, every week, mine my own brain for potential stand-up material, and with your help, I find stuff that is more likely to work on stage. This week's episode, two episodes ago, I asked you to be my accountability partner so I could get back on the stand-up horse. And if you'd like to find out if that worked, that technique of making strangers accountability partners worked, you're going to have to listen to find out. And then we move very seamlessly into some offensive and childish takes on lesbians. And then that segues nicely, very smoothly, into some thoughts on the inbound sexuality of my own children. Some complaints about parenting, and some complaints about the athletic industrial complex, the youth sports rather industrial complex. And then we get a little deep, a little philosophy of the difference between half-heartedness and wholeheartedness in our actions. And then I sort of land the plane in kind of that nice down, kind of melancholy, inadvisable way to end anything. So if that interests you, that makes me very happy. So stick around and please enjoy.
Oh man, that's rubbish! That's rubbish!
Check. Okay, well, accountability partners, I've got great news. You did it for me. 0.0% chance I go do an open mic tonight without committing to you publicly 2 weeks ago in episode 49 of Starting Stand Up. I got to tell you something. What a dream. So I'm going to keep committing. I commit to stop masturbating every day. We're going to do Knob Nom. No booze, no masturbation. Knob Nom. I did that 1 year, 1 month. I believe it was January 2013. I heard it's on some podcast. Knob Nom. No booze, no masturbation. It was the open mic tonight was the brutal kinds where every single person there is a stand-up. So that there's some good people, just no one's getting laughs. I did something new. Right before I went up, I remembered that advice I'd gotten about, just state something that's obvious in the room that no one's talking about. And again, it was just the sadness. So what I said was, first thing I said was, on a scale of 1 to 10, how sad is everybody right now? And there was sort of a pause, and then people started chuckling a little bit. And then some woman yells 8, and then we kind of figured out that meant she was really sad. And my heart genuinely broke. I just was like, come here. And she was a portly young woman, but, she was wearing it well, she just was open, and she said she was at an 8. And so she came out of the aisle, and we had about a 7-second hug. And she really appreciated it. Everyone started clapping. And then I proceeded to talk about masturbation. No, not really, but it was a nice way to start. I may try to keep that. It was fulfilling to me. And I think that's the lesson. If I'm fresh, I literally just got off stage like 45 minutes ago. So I'm fresh. And what in reflection, and I've said this before, but just being able to, even if you're not funny, connecting, really talking, and leaving a positive mark energetically is important. And I think that hug got people on my side right away. And then I started with that joke about, my favorite thing about Maine is the all-female landscaping cruise, which isn't even Austin Earl wrote that. But I have such a hard time with like those quick first laughs, just like, okay, I'm a professional. I'm going to give you a joke right away. And then I proceeded to not really do jokes. Again, I went back to my kind of podcast vibe where I talked about how I had procured 3 rabbits. My testosterone was mentioned, and that my testicles have shrunk to the size of the rabbit's testicle size. And that was really the closer. And in listening back, I will say that there was genuine, it was a heartfelt response. So, and then one of the guys, Nate, another success here, Nate, bearded fellow who's good. He came up to me. He's like, man, you got some stuff in there. We tweet, like, you know, he was basically a potential. And I said, you know what, Nate? Hey, Nate, I think we should be comedy buddies. You ever want to have a little writing session together? So much more fun to do it that way. And he was like, fuck yeah, man. And so Nate and I are going to get together. He also invited me to do the November show, a 10-minute set. So now I have a goal. Now I have something to work towards. That will get my ass in gear. I've got you, my accountability partner, and we're off to the races again. The summer is over. We've officially clicked out of complete degenerate mode, and we're back. There's a lesson there in there somewhere. Just got to get back on the horse. I had a couple friends just scream at me, you know, through text, calling me a pussy, get it together, and that's also effective. Carrot and the stick. I like both. I mean, I'll eat carrot while getting hit with a stick. They both work. So, again, thank you for being my accountability partner. We've committed to doing a real set, and it looks like in November it's going to happen. Yeah, that's the update. Is it weird? So I'm doing PT, and this lovely young woman named Emily is my PT. She's extremely capable. She's trained all over the place. She knows her stuff. She gives me my needle. And we get to talking, of course, and she called someone her partner. So I was like, oh, are you a dyke? No, I didn't say that, of course. I said, oh, you know, this is going to be really inappropriate, but she says that she had a tough weekend because her partner's mom doesn't like her or is a real... So by the end of the weekend, she was gritting her teeth. And I said, did you take it out on your partner at the end of the weekend and just go apeshit on her and pick a huge fight? She was like, no. I was like, oh, I had lesbians all wrong. No, I'm just teasing. I can make lesbian jokes because I know lesbians. No, just because they're the best. And here's why. I mean, here's my only issue. Because I'm just fascinated. And I'm a pervert. And so what I really want to ask is, like, what's going on? Like, how's the sex life? What are you guys into? You know, and I feel like I should be able to say that because this isn't someone that is interested in me. You know, it's the equivalent of a dude. And let me tell you something. A few, dry needling sessions with a dude PT and he's talking about his girlfriend, I can skip a lot of steps. And, I'm not going to ask like, oh, dude, what's it like fucking her, dude? Like, I'm not going to go there. But, favorite position? Is this guy Mish only like me? Or is he someone who, is she wild? Is everything good? I just like that stuff. Just like knowing people's wildly personal information. And somehow, I usually can extract it somewhat easily. Anyway, I just want to know about the scissoring or the 69ing or the strap-on technology, if that's the thing, And if that makes me a bad person, so be it. I'm just being honest. That's would be a fascinating conversation. And I just wonder if I did that in my 6th dry needling appointment, would I be invited back to the gym? Would I be sued? That kind of thing. So, yeah, if you're a lawyer, let me know. Anyway, this delightful lesbian personal trainer, physical therapist, PT, was telling about her frustration with her partner's mother. And it just got me thinking about me as a parent. I often wonder what it's going to be like if I feel like my daughter or son is making a mistake, like keeping your mouth shut. Or do you just go like, hey, you do what you want to do, but that dude is bad fucking news. And that dude's an asshole, and I forbid you. There's a lot coming, down the piper. Sexual activation in 2 years. I mean, it's happening. So I guess it'll be fun. I often think, how much am I going to fuck with these people when when Cecilia brings home a boyfriend? The temptation is just going to be to make this dude's life hell. Or test him out a little bit. It'll be fun. And then, of course, Louis brings home some complete psychopath. And you're just like, oh boy. Yeah. I bet he has a propensity for a psycho. It's like the cliche is that basically young women go for bad boys. And the theory is that, you're looking for strength. You're looking for someone who's bucking social norms. There's something appealing about that because you're like, this person plays by their own rules, and there's value, I think, in that. And thus the propensity for making mistakes as a young woman, going for bad boys who don't necessarily treat them well. And the same holds true for boys who I think are just, mesmerized by females and their sort of, maybe their chaotic nature at that age. And so they just hop on the roller coaster and just get torn to absolute shreds. Or maybe that's just me. But, I think I'm really excited for this next phase of parenting. I'm pretty much done with the preteens and the early teens. I'm ready for some adulthood. But I'm going to appreciate, I practice gratitude every day for the 45-minute Korean skincare routine that I watch and I support and pay for. And I also support the recap of television series about superheroes that I have no interest in. Now, I really actually don't pretend anymore. Say, not now, boy. There's got to be someone else you can call to talk about The Boys and the plot lines. Now, I kid a little bit, but not really. It's tough out there. I think if, for those with kids in this age range, I think I'm going to get a support group together because the cliche answer is, oh man, 13, oh my God, 12 and 10, God, that's when it gets fun. Yeah, so fun, right? And I'm like, I'd like to see your kids. Most of the parents of my 12, 13, 11-year-olds are spending, 40 hours a week driving them to youth sports games that they will never, ever play after high school. Football, tackle football, probably soccer, baseball, certainly. That is over after high school for the vast majority. And those are the biggest ones, which is just baffling. Lacrosse, you're not playing that after high school. Let's be honest. Let's get real. Field hockey? Yeah. You know what? I'm going to dedicate my life to driving my daughter around to play field hockey so that at the age of 18, she can never play it again. Doesn't make sense to me, guys. What percentage of kids truly love these sports? And what did we do in the 1900s before youth sports were a thing? Like, what were we doing? Does anyone have this data? Can someone please send me an article about what parenting was before the youth sports industrial complex took over and became a virus in everybody's mind? It is madness. Grown men of friends of mine who I have some friends who truly love it. They'll manage the team, coach the team. They just love sports. Their kids love sports. So I'm not knocking that at all. But I know a number of parents who willingly force sports onto their children who aren't that into it. And neither are the parents. And then they spend their adult life driving all over the world, the country, New England, just entire weekends swallowed whole by mediocre, half-hearted sporting events. Madness. Complete madness. And somebody needs to do something about it. I think I'm just regretting signing up to be head coach of my son's basketball team, I'm going to be honest. I'm just venting a little bit here. Pretty nervous about it. I really am. I want to do something in my life wholehearted, you know? I think my whole life has just been a half-hearted thing. Just 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I mean, I'll be honest, I've got 1 foot in stand-up. I needed accountability partners from strangers that I'm barking at on a podcast to force me to go do it. You know, I'm going to coach, and like the first 2 weeks, I'm going to be super into it, and then I'm going to be half-hearted about it. For those who stay wholehearted into things, what's your trick? Please write me. What's the trick to wholeheartedness, please? Thank you. And I thank you in advance for a complete and detailed answer. I am venery. I'm wholehearted about that. Completely wholehearted about venery. Is there anything else? Tennis, can't play that. Sports and venery. Am I just an incredibly superficial human? Just boning and sports. Everything else is just... And then, you know, non-ordinary experiences with friends. Yeah, that's it. That's it. When I say non-ordinary, I mean, you know, either an incredible vacation or, you know, an evening out that just has something really high quality, evenings out, socializing, dinner parties, sports and boning, and then snuggling with kids. Reading, I can wholeheartedly read with legs intertwined with children, as long as they're not talking too much. That is my deepest peace and happiness. How about you? What do you do wholeheartedly? Where do you find your deepest peace? God, I wish I knew who you were. It's just getting pretty awkward, alone here at my desk. But I am imagining you in the bathtub, a little pinner, just taking in these words, letting it wash over you, letting it change how you think about your own life. Let's all change each other's lives. You've certainly changed mine. I think we both know that I've said enough tonight. I want to wish you so much wholeheartedness this week. I hope you pour yourself into something and lose yourself. Next week, we will be at exactly a year. The year anniversary episode 52. Episode 52. I believe there's 52 weeks. Yep. So that's a big moment. No idea what we're going to do, and I will most likely not plan it until 8 p.m. Wednesday. So, not much else to say. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd really appreciate it if you kept it to yourself and didn't tell anybody and didn't comment or like or share. Again, I'm trying to shut this thing down, and we need to get to 0 listeners. So just slowly wear it out, because I can't quit if I know people like it. That's just not who I am. That's one more wholehearted thing I am. A wholehearted people pleaser. So if it pleases you, then I can't stop. So again, do not share, do not comment, do not like, do not subscribe. Unsubscribe, frankly. That would be helpful. I wish you, again, a wholehearted week. Go take what's yours.